Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at the 12 most hated motorcycles right now. Number 12, Kawasaki Eliminator. The Kawasaki Eliminator is currently facing a wave of backlash from cruiser traditionalists in the USA who feel the nameplate has been resurrected as a hollowed-out version of its former self. While the original Eliminators were drag-strip monsters with four-cylinder engines, the 2026 model utilizes a 451cc parallel twin that many purists find uninspiring and scooter-like in its power delivery. Critics often hate the bike for its plastic-heavy construction and a trellis frame that feels more like a budget commuter than a premium cruiser. For many American riders, the Eliminator represents a trend of manufacturers prioritizing approachability over soul, resulting in a machine that is frequently dismissed as a beginner-only bike that lacks the character needed to stay in a garage long-term. One of the loudest complaints in 2026 centers on the bike's suspension and highway manners. Owners frequently report that the non-adjustable front forks are far too soft for anyone weighing over 180 pounds, leading to a wallowing sensation in corners that kills rider confidence. At speeds above 80 miles per hour, the parallel twin produces a high-frequency buzz through the handlebars and foot pegs that becomes physically exhausting during interstate travel. For the $6,000 asking price, many feel they are getting a watered-down product that trades mechanical substance for a blacked-out aesthetic, leading to high frustration levels among those who expected a true successor to the Eliminator legacy. Number 11, Triumph Speed 400. The Triumph Speed 400 has sparked significant brand elitism hatred within the motorcycling community. Longtime Triumph enthusiasts often loathe the bike because they see it as a dilution of the Hinckley brand's prestige, moving away from high-end British craftsmanship toward high-volume global production. In the USA, many riders hate the thin, lightweight feel of the bike, arguing that it lacks the heft and presence expected from a Triumph. Common complaints also center on the single-cylinder engine's vibration at highway speeds and the perceived cheapness of the switchgear compared to its larger siblings. It is a motorcycle that is hated not necessarily for its performance, but for what it represents, a premium brand reaching for a mass-market audience at the expense of its exclusive image. Beyond the brand politics, the Speed 400 faces real-world criticism regarding its build quality under stress. Owners in 2026 have reported issues with finishes wearing prematurely and a hollow sound from the engine that doesn't align with the premium Triumph badge on the tank. The bike is often criticized for its small physical dimensions, with taller American riders feeling clown-like while riding it. For many, the $5,000 price tag doesn't justify the loss of the brand's legendary character. Investing in this machine means accepting a Triumph-like experience that often leaves owners and enthusiasts alike longing for the substance found in the larger Bonneville lineup. Number 10, BMW R18. The BMW R18 is one of the most polarizing machines on the market, frequently hated for its form-over-function design philosophy. While it is visually stunning, American owners often vent their frustrations regarding its ergonomics. The massive 1800cc boxer cylinders physically prevent riders from stretching their legs forward, a cardinal sin for a cruiser in the USA. Many hate the bike's sheer mass and awkward weight distribution, which makes low-speed maneuvers a nightmare for anyone without professional-level strength. Despite its premium price tag, critics argue that it is more of a stationary art piece than a practical touring machine, leading to a reputation as a bike that is better to look at than to actually ride. The hate for the R18 isn't just about the legs, it's about the total lack of versatility. Because of the cylinder placement, riders are forced into a mid-control position that becomes agonizing after 100 miles. In 2026, the used market is flooded with low-mileage R18s, as buyers realize the dream of owning a massive boxer twin cruiser doesn't align with the reality of riding one. For many, it represents the worst of luxury motorcycling, an overpriced, heavy, and ergonomically flawed machine that sacrifices the fundamental joy of riding for the sake of a vintage silhouette. Number 9. Indian FTR. The Indian FTR is frequently at the center of a mechanical identity crisis that draws a lot of hate from the American V-twin crowd. Originally marketed as a flat tracker for the street, many riders were disappointed when subsequent models moved toward a 17-inch wheel setup, making it feel like just another naked bike. Critics loathe the FTR for its notoriously small fuel tank, which forces riders to plan their trips around gas stations, a major annoyance on long USA stretches. Additionally, the bike has a reputation for being finicky in cold weather and having a twitchy throttle response that makes city riding a chore. For many, the FTR is a beautiful machine that is ruined by poor packaging and a lack of clear purpose. In 2026, the frustration has only grown as owners deal with persistent, cold start issues where the bike requires multiple attempts to fire up. While Lloyd's tunes are often cited as a fix, many hate that they have to spend an extra $500 on a $13,000 bike just to make it run smoothly. The heat radiating from the rear cylinder is another frequent complaint during the American summer, often reaching levels that make sitting at a red light unbearable. The Indian FTR is a performance powerhouse crippled by frustrating technical oversights. Owning one means constantly managing its fueling issues and fuel range, turning what should be a thrilling ride into a series of mechanical compromises. Number 8. Royal Enfield Shotgun 650. The Royal Enfield Shotgun 650 is often hated for being redundant in a lineup that already features the highly successful Super Meteor 650. Many American critics argue that the shotgun is simply a styling exercise that offers worse ergonomics and a less comfortable seat for a similar price point. The bobber aesthetic, while trendy, is hated by long-distance riders who find the mid-set foot pegs and flat handlebar to be a recipe for back pain after just 50 miles. Furthermore, the limited suspension travel has been a major point of contention, with riders complaining that it handles poorly on anything but perfect pavement. For many, the shotgun is seen as a bike that tries too hard to be cool, while sacrificing the practical reliability and comfort that Royal Enfield is known for. The hate is intensified by the bike's sheer weight. At 240 kilograms, it feels unnecessarily heavy for a 47-horsepower machine. Owners under 170 pounds report being tossed around by the stiff rear suspension, leading to a harsh ride quality that many find unacceptable in 2026. Critics also point out the lack of basic safety features like traction control, which they argue should be standard on a bike of this weight and price. While it looks premium, the actual riding experience is often described as clunky and unrefined compared to its cruiser siblings. Choosing this machine means sacrificing your comfort and ride quality for a look that many feel is just a heavier, less practical version of an existing bike. Number 7. Harley-Davidson Road Glide. The Harley-Davidson Road Glide is a frequent target of hate, primarily from the Batwing traditionalists who find the fixed shark nose fairing to be an aesthetic abomination. In the USA touring community, there is a fierce divide, and critics often mock its bug-eyed headlight design and the sheer size of the front fairing, which some claim makes the bike feel disconnected from the road. Beyond the looks, many hate the high cost of entry, often exceeding $26,000, arguing that the premium price doesn't justify the incremental technology updates. The hatred in 2026 has been further fueled by the previous regime's pricing strategy, with many riders feeling that the bike has become a luxury item for weekend warriors rather than a tool for true road trippers. Critics point out that while the Skyline OS is impressive, it is often plagued by software glitches that frustrate owners who just want to ride. The lack of standard reach adjustments for the heavy controls is another point of contention for riders with smaller hands. For those who value the raw mechanical history of Harley-Davidson, the modern Road Glide feels too much like a computer on wheels, lacking the visceral soul that once defined the brand. The Harley-Davidson Road Glide stands as the ultimate symbol of modern corporate Harley. Owning one means paying a massive premium for a machine that many critics believe has traded its soul for a giant screen and a controversial fairing. Number 6. Triumph Rocket 3. The Triumph Rocket 3 is a bike that people love to hate because of its excessive nature. With a 2400cc engine, the largest in any production motorcycle, critics argue that it is a masterpiece of unnecessary engineering. Many American riders hate the Rocket 3 for its astronomical fuel consumption and the massive heat output from the three-header exhaust, which can become unbearable in summer traffic. The rear tire, while impressively wide, is frequently criticized for making the bike handle like a truck in tight corners, requiring significant physical effort to turn. The hate also stems from the staggering cost of maintenance. A simple tire change on that massive 240mm rear can cost upwards of $500. Owners often complain about the abrupt throttle response in lower gears, which can make the bike feel jerky and difficult to manage in urban environments. In 2026, the Rocket 3 is frequently mocked in enthusiast circles as the ultimate midlife crisis bike, purchased by those who want to win spec sheet battles, but rarely have the ability to lean the bike over more than 15 degrees. The Triumph Rocket 3 is the definition of mechanical excess. Choosing this bike means committing to a massive fuel bill and a physical workout every time you ride, leaving many to wonder if the 2.5-liter engine was worth the effort. Number 5. Indian Challenger Elite. The Indian Challenger Elite is often hated for its tech overload and a price tag that many feel is predatory. At over $38,000, critics loathe the idea of a motorcycle costing more than a luxury sedan. In the USA, many purists hate the Challenger because it replaces the classic air-cooled V-twin Soul with a liquid-cooled Power Plus engine that they claim sounds like a sewing machine. There is also significant frustration regarding the complexity of the infotainment system. Owners have reported software glitches that can render the bike's premium features useless. Critics also hate the massive readjustment required for the headlight straight from the factory, arguing that for this price the bike should be perfect. While it is undeniably fast, the sneaky fast nature of the engine is often seen as a negative by those who want the visceral thumping of a traditional American twin. The Indian Challenger Elite is a high-tech marvel that many critics find soulless and overpriced. Investing in this machine means paying for thousands of dollars in gadgets that owners often find to be more of a distraction than a benefit. Number 4. Harley-Davidson Nightster. The Harley-Davidson Nightster has faced a mountain of hate since its release, mostly because it replaced the beloved air-cooled Evolution Sportster. Traditional Harley fans loathe the Nightster for its plastic feel and the Revolution Max 975T engine, which they argue lacks the iconic potato sound and soul of the old iron. The fuel tank being located under the seat is a major point of hatred, as it complicates the traditional look and makes customization difficult. Critics also point to the high price, around $12,000, as being too expensive for what feels like a budget entry into the brand. It is frequently dismissed as a bike that doesn't know what it wants to be, failing to capture the heritage of the past while not being sporty enough to compete with modern naked bikes. In 2026, the Nightster is often criticized for its confused ergonomics. The seat is low, but the foot pegs are placed in a way that feels awkward for many riders. Owners complain that the bike feels light and flimsy compared to the solid mechanical feel of an 883 or 1200 Custom. For many, the Nightster is the poster child for Harley's identity crisis, trying to chase new riders while alienating the core fanbase that made the Sportster name legendary. The Nightster is a bike that exists in the shadow of its predecessor, earning it the resentment of those who believe that a Sportster should be a raw, simple, and unrefined mechanical beast. Number 3. Suzuki Boulevard M109R. The Suzuki Boulevard M109R is a bike that has been in the hate spotlight for years because it hasn't seen a significant update in nearly 2 decades. Critics loathe the outdated technology, citing the 5-speed transmission and ancient instrument cluster as proof that Suzuki has abandoned the model. In the USA, many riders hate the bike's handling characteristics. The massive 240mm rear tire makes it notoriously difficult to tip into corners, leading to a muscling riding style that many find exhausting. There are also persistent complaints regarding clunky gear shifts and a heavy clutch pull that makes city riding a nightmare. For most modern riders, the M109R is a dinosaur that survives solely on its aggressive looks, offering a riding experience that feels stuck in 2006. The hatred for the M109R is also directed at its lack of basic safety features. In 2026, it is one of the few high-displacement bikes still lacking standard traction control or advanced rider aids. The fit and finish are also frequently targeted, with owners noting that the chrome is often just plastic and the overall build quality feels cheap compared to modern rivals. The Suzuki Boulevard M109R is an ancient machine that many feel has no place in the 2026 market. Owning one means dealing with heavy, difficult handling and a lack of modern safety that makes it feel increasingly irrelevant on today's roads. Number 2. Indian Chief. The Indian Chief is often criticized for a lack of identity compared to the more specialized bikes in the Indian lineup. Many owners hate the bike's lackluster suspension, which frequently bottoms out on the rough roads often found in the USA, leading to a harsh and uncomfortable ride. Critics also point to the cluttered handlebars and a touchscreen ride command system that feels out of place on a bike trying to look vintage. There is a sense of betrayal among some fans who feel the Chief has become a part-spin motorcycle, sharing too much with other models while lacking a unique soul. The high heat levels radiating from the rear cylinder are also a frequent complaint, leading to a reputation as a bike that is uncomfortable to live with. In 2026, the Chief is also hated for its vague and springy throttle and clutch feel, which many riders claim kills the connection between the machine and the rider. The 3-inch rear suspension travel is often called insulting for a bike priced in the mid to high teens. Critics loathe the fact that you scrape hard parts on even moderate lean angles, making the bike feel clumsy in anything but a straight line. The Indian Chief is a styling exercise that many critics find mechanically disappointing. Choosing the Indian Chief motorcycle means dealing with a harsh suspension and a clinical, disconnected feel that many believe fails to capture the true soul of the Indian brand. Number 1. Harley-Davidson Sportster S. The Harley-Davidson Sportster S takes the top spot for the most hated motorcycle right now because it represents the most radical, and to some, the most offensive departure from tradition. In the USA, the Sportster name is sacred, and many riders absolutely loathe the fact that the new S model is a liquid-cooled 121 horsepower high-tech machine with almost no suspension travel. The balloon tires and high-mount exhaust are frequently mocked for being stylistically confused. Many hate the ergonomics, claiming the forward controls and low bars make the rider feel like a folded taco. While it is objectively fast, critics argue it has zero Harley soul, functioning more like a Japanese power cruiser than a Milwaukee Legend. The hate in 2026 is intensified by the bike's brutal ride quality. With only 2 inches of actual travel in the rear, every bump is transmitted directly to the rider's spine. Critics loathe the numb feeling of the wide front tire, which they claim makes the bike feel truck-like when trying to initiate a turn. Owners also complain about the massive heat coming from the high-mount exhaust, often burning the rider's leg during summer city traffic. The Harley-Davidson Sportster S is a high-performance machine that many purists believe has destroyed the Sportster legacy. Owning one means accepting a harsh ride and a controversial image that places you at odds with the very community the bike claims to represent. And with this, we have reached the end of this video. Make sure to like it and subscribe the channel for future upcoming videos.